Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Groseal Board of Trustees business meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother.
Oh, and Teresa is behind the.
Oh, I know I'm going to introduce her.
Well, I'm just.
Yeah,
don't
I know, I can see her.
Oh, you can see her?
Yes, I can.
Ah.
We'll start with additions and deletions. I'm going to start with asking to delete action item number 2, the TPOAM contract language, because by...
Second?
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, it didn't make it into the packet, so nobody's gotten to read it, so we don't want to vote on something we haven't looked at. So we'll just move that to the next meeting. It'll be there. Any other questions on that or comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to delete action item number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That will be deleted. Thank you. Do we have any additions? Joe?
Yes, I'd like to add action item number 5, painting public safety building roof.
Support. Thanks, Dave. All right. I think that's pretty straightforward. That's a second coat of paint going on. Comments on that? Seeing none, we have a motion to add action item number 5, painting the public safety building roof. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have that added. Anything else? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have the approval of the agenda as amended, adding number 5 and deleting number 2 action items. Before we get to public comment, we have our new finance director here. I'd like to introduce her. Teresa McLaughlin.
McLaughlin.
Not like it looks.
Right.
Hi, Teresa, and
Hi.
welcome to Groseal.
Thank you. I would like to sincerely thank the entire Board of Trustees for approving the hiring of me as your new finance director, and without me even being here. So, with my extensive experience in public accounting, including serving the township as their audit manager for 18 years, other governmental experience, and being a licensed CPA for over 30 years, I'm looking forward to contributing to the continued success of the financial operations of the township. I'm happy to be working with such a strong team of individuals at the Township Hall, and I look forward to serving the residents of Groseal Township. And thank you so much again.
Well, we look forward to having you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you may.
Well, I just wanted to add, Teresa, because I wasn't here to vote for you. You would have gotten my vote, or you have my vote. And I've worked with you for many years on the audit process and just have the utmost respect for you and your thoroughness. And you know our history, you know our township, so you're the perfect person to step in for Ann Darsnick, who was also just a wealth of knowledge. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. It feels a little bit like being back home. So
Good.
thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
Sure, Joe.
Did you bring your appointment book with you tonight? I'll see you after the meeting.
Okay.
No, you don't need to stay. You don't need to stay.
Oh, we'll stay.
No, don't do it for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. All right, next, public comment on agenda items, 3 minutes, name and address. And do we have anyone? Comments? It does not appear that we do. So move to the consent agenda. David.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 23-070, which consists of minutes of the September 25th, 2023 regular meeting, check registers dated through September 29th, 2023, and the extension of the exclusivity agreement.
Support? Do we have any comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we have a motion before us to approve consent agenda 23-070, which consists of the minutes of the September 25th, 2023 regular meeting, the check register dated through September 29th, 2023, and an extension of our exclusivity agreement. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes. Thank you. Action items. David, you have the first action item.
All right, based upon a recommendation from the Grosseal Township engineers, the Grosseal Township Board hereby approves a contract with G and Mistler, Inc. for the installation of 10 HVAC units at Grosseal Township Hall at a cost of $166,155, plus a 10% contingency for a total authorized amount of $182,770.50.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. David?
This was an expense listed on, from the COVID funds. They looked at, I gotta put my glasses on to read this. The units, the rooftop units, they're in poor condition, and many of them were original to the renovation of this building in 2000. There were 4 bids received. G and Mistler was the low bidder. Their price came in very close to the estimated original allocation from the COVID funds. And there was also, in there was a review did an option for alternative methods of heating and cooling, and the engineer did look at that and found them to be cost prohibitive, and but that we did make sure in our bid requirements, the bid specs that went out, that these were the highest efficiency units that could be purchased.
Derek, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, that covers it.
Okay, any other comments?
Also, just a question. I did see that Grosseal Nature and Land Conservancy's letter is in there about, considering electric options versus gas options. I don't know if that was considered for this, but I just was curious, Derek, or if you'd looked into it, or if this is something that's being considered going into the future.
Yeah, the memo was passed along to our engineers for review as far as the options being suggested by the Grosseal Nature Land Conservancy and other heating options that might be able to be utilized in the building. And because of the construction design of this building and also the fact that it's already constructed, some of those methods were cost prohibitive because normally they'd be incorporated into the overall infrastructure of the building while it's being built. And then the size of it, retrofitting it for those methods becomes very cost prohibitive. So moving on to the next best option, it was specified out that we wanted the highest efficiency units possible, as was mentioned in the action item, and that's what we did receive in our bid to try to make sure we were as energy efficient as possible.
Thank you. And I'll just state, just for the board or whomever else, I know that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to make a lot of options available next year for things like moving to electric or solar panels and things like that. So I know I'm going to be looking out for possible grants for the township, et cetera, moving forward. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with voting for this. I just wanted to put that out there as something I'm looking into as ways that that we can, get some money and look into that.
Yes.
I'd like to piggyback on that too, because I think it was on Marketplace yesterday or today, they announced that there's some communities actually that are now banning fossil fuel heating systems, cooling systems in new construction in their communities in an effort to try to meet those emissions, goals by 2030 and 2050. So it is something that, the township should really be at least thinking about. And we know, at least we know it's coming. But I understand why we're doing what we're doing. That obviously makes a lot of sense. But
And that obviously is a hot topic going around today at this time, and obviously it has also been brought to our attention before. We've looked into solar, we've looked into other things, and I think really those things are something that work for new construction. It becomes, it's not that they don't work for retrofitting, it's just that they become very, very expensive, and unfortunately, it always comes down to the dollar. So it is something that we're looking at, and it's on our radar now. So
well,
that's
and
good.
we are limited here because we're on an airfield. There's certain things we can't do because of aviation constraints or effects it might have on
Right.
aviation. But we're also located on the water. On a waterway with a very strong current. So eventually I think this community is going to be well placed to consider and work with alternative energy sources. But I really appreciate that you guys took the extra step to look into it and get the highest efficiency units that we could.
And which is another thing, you go, how the highest efficiency is something we want, but at what cost? Where does it become cost prohibitive? And sometimes when you look into that absolute max, you find out, you're not going to recoup it for 100 years. So we have to be cognizant of all of that, and we are. Other comments? Hearing none. We have a motion. Based upon the recommendation of the Groseal Township engineers, the Groseal Township Board hereby approves a contract with Guillen Missler, Inc. for the installation of 10 HVAC units at Groseal Township Hall at a cost of $166,155 plus a 10% contingency, authorized amount of $182,770.50. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We will get, and I will say, over the last 2-3 years, we have been putting bandages and bubble gum on those units. It seems, especially in the winter, it seems like we have them in here every other week. Something isn't working. So this is something that this building needs.
I do hope that in this process, if it's at all possible, that whoever does the installation and calibration, that, as you know, certain offices get ridiculously hot in the winter with too much heat going in. Mm-hmm. Other times they get too cold. But like the clerks and treasurers' offices, they're not always well. You have to keep the doors open all the time. I think there's an issue down in the admin wing as well. If that's something that they can finally
Adjust.
look at or adjust.
We'll keep that in mind because we're all affected with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Uda. Okay, we deleted action item number 2. Uda, action item number 3, please.
Thank you. I am going to make a motion that based on a recommendation to accept and hire James Wilder as the new Maintenance 2 worker within the Recreation Department.
Support.
I know Derek and his team, you might want to add some comments. They did go through the interviewing process. James Wilder was selected as the ideal candidate based on his work experience and history. And this is an important position and a very busy position in the rec department. And so I will hope that you were all generous to give support to our 3 motions at our last meeting when I couldn't be here. I'm hoping you'll support this. But Derek, please chime in because I'm blabbing.
Yeah, we probably, if you recall, this is for Mark Tisso's position. Mark recently retired in the end of August. So we went through the process of advertising that position. We probably had 20, 25 applications, something like that. Ended up interviewing, I believe, 5. And that interview group was made up of Recreation Department Manager, a couple other members of the department, and myself, and also a member of our DPS department, just for familiarity with the job responsibilities. This is a union position, maintenance 2. And Mr. Wilder did a very nice job in his interview. His experience, I think, is going to be an excellent fit for the department. He's very diversified in his background. And that department kind of needs a Swiss Army knife, as far as the skill set, because there's a lot that they're called on to do. And I think he fits that bill. His references were really very good, and I think he's going to be a great asset to the team. So I believe he'll start within the next 2 weeks if this is approved by the board.
Other comments?
Oh, yes, I'm
I
sorry.
need to
Yes.
read it. Hearing none, we have a motion to accept and hire James Wilder as the new Maintenance 2 worker within the Recreation Department. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have a new employee. Thank you. Okay, Kyle, if you would, please.
I have a recommendation for the purchase of 22 firefighting helmets from McQueen Equipment.
Support?
The history, purpose, and explanation of this is that the current firefighter helmets are 22 years of age and do not comply with the National Fire Protection Association standards that states mandatory retirement age for the helmets is 10 years from date of maintenance or manufacturer. And then the only thing I'll note is that the financial impact is very limited on this. The fire department was able to get a grant from the state of Michigan for the amount of $10,000, so $713.56 will come from the fire equipment fund.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Not a bad deal. Other comments on this?
Do you want to bring the chief up?
Only if there's other comments. No other comments? Looks good. So we have a motion to purchase 22 firefighting helmets from McQueen Equipment.
He does want to come up.
Oh, do you want to?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
just an amendment. The total purchase price is $10,033.67. So from our budget, it will just be $33.67.
Sorry, say it again? I might have to.
$33.67 instead of $700.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I amend that then?
Chief,
But that wasn't part of the motion.
Oh, it wasn't?
you could pay that out of your pocket before you leave tonight. We'll be square.
We have enough pop bottles at the department to pay for that, so $33.67, I can afford.
Not a bad deal for
Not a bad deal.
22 new helmets.
And I'd like to commend the firefighters who applied for the grant. I know they don't like compliments, but I'd like to commend Tim Lorraine at the fire department office for all the work he did, and of course Ann too. So if they're listening, thank you.
Thank you. So we have that, just to, what we just went through, it'll be a $10,000, $10,033.67. $10,000 will be from a grant, and the fire department will pay $33.67. So again, the motion is to purchase 22 firefighter helmets from McQueen Equipment. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Chief, you get your new helmets. Thank you. And move on to action item number 5. Joe?
Thank you. Recommend to approve application of one coat of paint to the public safety building roof.
Support.
Public safety building roof has not been painted since 1991 and should have been painted every 7 to 10 years. Thank you for putting that in there, John. An application of additional cost of paint is necessary due to the deteriorating state of the roof in order to ensure the roof repainting is not necessary in the near future to avoid additional future expenses. An additional coat could be applied to ensure lasting roof protection to the public safety building.
Okay, John, do you have anything to add to that?
Just the cost. The cost is $49,660. We're still $30,000 under the next bid that we had, and that was applying one coat of paint. We're on our second one, and we're still $30,000 under the next bid that we had.
Important to note, this will be a second coat.
This will be an additional coat in the entire building.
And just so that everybody knows, that this is the same contractor that did the original, or the first.
That's correct. That is correct. It's 22,000 square feet of roof. It needs another coat. And like I said, it wasn't part of the original bid. This is an addition, but I think it's definitely needed.
Other comments or questions?
If I could just, oh, I'm
Sure,
sorry,
Joe.
Dave, did you?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that the payment of this is going to come from the coronavirus recovery fund.
All right.
It is, we have allocated $60,000 to replace the overhead doors. We are not replacing the overhead doors. We're saving about $50,000 on that side of the Corona funds. Instead of replacing the entire doors, the fire department put a bid out, published a bid for just replacing the bottom panels. That's the deteriorated most portion of those doors. So we went from 60,000 down to 15,000 of those funds. So we're ahead of the game on the Corona money when it comes to the specific allocations over at the fire department, police department.
So I just want to make, just so I understand this, Johnny, the payment does come from the fund, though.
For all of the roof, all the roof Corona money will be used on the roof painting. I do believe we're going to have to move some money from what was allocated to the doors over to the roof.
Oh.
I think we were way under when we first came up with this number to paint the roof. The other bid, the second bid we received was for $180,000 to paint the roof, to fix the roof. And I believe we only allocated, well, out of the coronavirus money, we did not allocate enough. But I believe once we kind of move over the money we're going to pay on the overhead doors over to the roof, we'll be fine.
Will still be good.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm stating this correctly, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, I'm stating it correctly for you.
So you're good.
You're good. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, so it will be paid out of
Yes.
the COVID funds.
That's right.
That's what I
That's
just
it.
need to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll
I'm
be
good.
COVID. Yeah. it'll
I'll
be
tell you the
COVID
truth every
funds.
time.
I just want to make sure I tell the truth.
Okay. Well, you're right.
All right.
Okay.
All right, other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the application of one coat of paint to the public safety building roof. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The roof gets a second coat. Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that takes care of our action items and brings us to our second public comment on any topic. 3 minutes, name and address. Yes, sir. Please say it into the microphone. So.
Frank Gerner, Blauvelt Drive.
Yes, Frank. Welcome.
Welcome. I've been a resident for 2 years here now in Grosse Ile. I haven't really had a chance to publicly meet any of the township board or persons here, but I do have a couple of things that I kind of want the board to give me some ideas with. One is the public safety of the bridge. The bridge was under construction when I first bought my home, so it opened up like a week after I bought my home. And it's still deteriorating, and I understand that we had received some money for the state to help fix the bridge or repair the bridge or replace the bridge, or I don't know which item it's going to be. But as far as that goes, it's still, the second part of it is the safety concerns I have of the traffic on the bridge. I was almost run off the bridge by 2 semi-trucks and a cement hauler all at the same time on the bridge. I nearly lost my mirror, and it made me crazy. So I've sat up at the end of the park and watched the amount of traffic. Just about 3 days ago, I think it's Messner Cement Company, they published a thing on Facebook stating that they were going to have their truck come across 26 times with cement and ask for leniency from the people here in Grosse Seal. And I felt that was nice. At least you know that you're bringing this across and you're doing it in a timely manner. And he's also saying that to be courteous, you know, he's got cameras on his trucks and the guy should be courteous. I don't see our trucks doing that. Their trucks were fine, but these semi-trucks are doing 40, 45, and that's dangerous. If you get hit on that bridge, and I used to work in public safety in Detroit, you get hit on that bridge, you're going over. I don't know if you want to see your wife, your husband, your children who are learning how to drive be put in that position. So I'm asking the board for help with controlling that. And I've also called the county with regards to the overgrowth of weeds and stuff before a bridge. You can't even see the posted signs. You can't see the guardrails anymore. So I'm just wondering what's happening with those things as far as the upkeep around the bridge. And Andrew was supposed to make the Wayne County exec was supposed to make some type of appearance or something with us. I haven't seen that anywhere. So I was just kind of alerting the board on that, like, you know, where's this going, what's happening? And I'm sure the rest of the community wants to know before we have another problem with the bridge closing down again.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Other comments? Yes, sir. How you doing, Bob?
Good. Jim, how are you?
Good.
Bob Z. Blauvelt. With regards to some of Mr. Gerner's concerns, he commented on the, actually it was a commitment made by Andy, I can't remember his last name, of Wayne County. During an interview on public TV that he was going to do a presentation to Grosse Ile regarding an update. And I don't know, maybe we could work together on this, Jim. If you could send a communique, maybe our township manager could send a communique from the public. I would be happy to send a communique asking them, when should we find this about to come about? We have 2 bridge projects coming up right now, staring us in the face, and any information we can get at this time would be helpful to arrest the public, because there are many questions out there, as you know. So if we could maybe contact him and find out if he has that in the near future, I think many people on the island would appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure we'd probably fill this hall. Listening to the news today, something that comes up quite often, Royal Oak is the 29th community in the state of Michigan to install an LPR. Seems like this technology has really taken off regarding safety and everything else that it brings forth. I just wonder who was the first. Joe? Who was the first community in the state of Michigan? Good job. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? All right.
Brian, there's this one.
Oh, Brian? Well, I mean, we do the public first. Brian, do you have anyone?
Yes, I have one. Greg Karmazin, East River Road. I attended the Grosse Ile Fire Department's open house on the afternoon of Sunday, October 1st, and I want to commend Chief John Camilleri as well as the GIFD officers and all their personnel for organizing and hosting this outstanding event. The department's equipment and gear on display was cleaned and polished to perfection. The great pride that the men and women of the GIFD have for protecting and serving the community was fully evident. They were very engaging and friendly while answering questions by citizens in attendance. The open house was both informative and entertaining. It was particularly noteworthy that many children with one or both parents were able to enjoy viewing and even touching the fire trucks, ambulances, and rescue boat. Founded in 1943, the GIFD has been one of the most valuable assets of this community for the past 80 years. I believe the Islanders who attended the open house were able to learn more about why this is the case if they had not previously had firsthand experience with the department. During the entire history of the GIFD, members of my family living on the island have been served well by the department many times. As I did at the open house, I want to once again say thank you to Chief Camilleri and other men and women of the GIFD for all you do to keep the community safe. That is all.
Thank you, Greg, from afar.
Jim, can I make one just quick comment?
Absolutely,
For just
Joe.
this gentleman here that came up. Just so you know, I'm going to meet with the chief of police on that issue that you're talking about, what we can do. And I know it's not public back and forth, but sometimes when you come up and there's a question there, it's easier for just to answer and we can get some things done. Some special attention checks for radar checks on the bridge. And the second thing is I'm still working with Wayne County on trying to lower the speed limit on the bridge, and I think it's time that I don't know any other way to do it, but the heat's got to be put on, Mr. Candrias, because I've been working on this for 6 months, and he hasn't gotten back with me or Derek here in numerous phone calls and emails. So what we're doing is, and just so the board, look, I've got to say this. I know this is not really the usual thing, but this gentleman here I've never met before in my life. I've never spoken to this gentleman before in my life. Sometimes when people come up there, they think because I'm working on something or someone on the board is working on something that they bring people up. But I just want to say, I have to say that because now that sparks me that there's now people coming to the township board meeting and pushing this too. It's not just me, and I'm not just alone. So I think it's time that the heat's got to be put up on Wayne County and them. I've got Mr. Evans's email, I think, tomorrow. Unless, Jim, you're the boss here, Jim, unless you want to speak to, and you tell me, because
Joe,
I'm about cooked.
And you go and do your thing. I have a comment to make when I do my report regarding
Okay,
that.
okay.
But you go and do yours, because with us both doing it, hopefully it brings the pressure that
I
needs
just
to
want to
be-
let you know, I'm
Yep.
giving you,
No,
know.
that's fine.
Okay, but just to let you know. And I will meet with the chief of police on this, okay?
Sir? Yeah, go ahead.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't want to scream across the room. One other thing is I did contact the Wayne County Sheriff's Division, and I'm trying to get a meeting with Ralph, which is the chief, or the sheriff, Ralph Washington.
Oh.
Because I used to work with the department, so.
Yeah, Raphael,
Warren
yes.
Evans and the rest of the guys when Warren was in Detroit, such and such. So I gotta, trying to set up a meeting with him to see if Waymaster may be able to come over and work a couple of days just to see what's exactly happening on the bridge as far as weight control besides the speed. So it's like, it's just horrendous. Like I said, that day just flashed before my eyes. I'm like, if this has happened to me, I don't know how many, and I always look on the bridge and I see a mirror or something thrown off to the side. I'm like, that's just not right. I can understand, like, I come across the Pay Bridge, they guide you across at 20 miles an hour with a truck. Now they don't do that no more because they got their weight restrictions. But it seems like a free-for-all now on our bridge, and it's just damaging it more. I mean, it's like one comment was made to me by one of the truckers, like, we really don't give a damn because your bridge, it's tore up already. So what are you saying, just tear it up more? That's not nice. Not nice.
Yeah, Joe, you go ahead and do.
I just want to make,
you make your contacts and.
okay, I will send an email out tomorrow and
That'll be good.
send him a Scud missile in the morning.
All right. Clerk's report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Well, your comment was well-timed in essence because I was going to use part of my report today. I had a similar experience about a week or so ago. I drive an Escape. It's not a tiny car. And these trucks were just barreling across that bridge. I was absolutely freaked out. And I thought I would ask again, Joe and Jim, to redouble your efforts, because we really do need a multi-pronged approach. Lower the weights, lower the speeds, because we're going to lose that bridge if these trucks, especially now that they're not going over the toll bridge. You know, and these were the cement trucks, and then there were some like a gravel hauler type truck, and you know, he's taking up more than his lane. So I don't know. I don't like to show that I'm scared, but yeah, I was freaked out. So I really, your comment really struck me. So, so clerk's report. A few residents reached out to me and to our state rep, Jamie Churches, and our state senator, Camilleri, curious that they weren't finding any information on the November election on any of our social media sites. And so I'm just making a statement for everybody. Grosse Ile does not have an election in November, and so there will be nothing on any of our social media sites about an election in November on Grosse Ile. However, 2024 is going to be a year of a lot of elections, at least 4 elections, and our team is definitely in the mix getting ready for that. While I was off ill, Deputy Clerk Friel sent me a little video that he put together, the plans for the early voting here at Township Hall. And so, you know, those preparations for 2024 are well underway. As always, we are recruiting poll inspectors. We're going to need to staff not just the regular polling stations, but also 9 days of early voting, and of course the absent ballot voter counting boards for all of these elections. So we're really going to be needing a big team, and Brian and Elena are working hard to pull all that together. But I know they don't mind if they have a few more people coming forward, and we do pay a small stipend. And of course, you know, Grosse Ile Bakery Donuts, that's the big hit every morning, and pizza in the evening. So we'll hope, and you only have to be 16. If we have adults staffing the precinct, we can have high school students working with the team. So kids, if you're interested in some community service, brownie points, you know, come and sign up. I know a bunch of kids in the past worked with us when they were part of the Builders Club and the Rotary groups, and they got some real life experience. So now, Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add or need to add?
No, not tonight.
Don't say I didn't give you a chance. So that's it for the clerk's report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Uda. David?
Thank you, Jim. Summer tax bills were due September 14th, and they're now, any unpaid summer taxes are now accumulating a late fee of 1% per month, and beginning November 1st, there's an additional 3% late penalty that gets added to the base tax amount, and that's on top of the 1% monthly pension, monthly penalty. So I urge everybody, if you have not paid your summer taxes yet, to pay those before October 31st to avoid another month's penalty. And to date, we've collected 96% of the summer tax rolls, and all of the appropriate payments have been made to Wayne County and to the Grosse Ile School District. DPS Commission, we meet in this room tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, and we're going to continue putting together our 2024 road project. And I believe most of this will be concrete concrete work and some additional asphalt. And then the Airport Commerce Park Commission, the construction on Taxiway A is still on target for completion later this fall. And their next meeting will be October 16th here in this room. And that's my report for this evening.
Thank you, David. Kyle?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I sit on the Planning Commission, which met on October 2nd and is set to meet again in November. A lot came up. The biggest thing was kind of the first introduction of the master plan process, which is set to be completed in about a year. So please continue to look out for that and for ways to participate. That's going to be coming out to the residents a little bit more, and I think will be really impactful in terms of a lot of things and how our future will be here in this community. The biggest thing I did want to bring up from the Planning Commission was there was a discussion over something I had heard about before that night, something called the Oak Natural Commons Conservation Easement. And basically what it is, at least in this specific property, it's a tiny piece of land, 15 feet, with a 6-foot utility easement. It's supposed to be a natural buffer, but in practice is not. I have experience with these all over the island. There's kind of these little things that have been set up for one reason or another that are theoretically natural, but more, people just don't keep them that way and they aren't able to be policed. So, I don't know. It brought up a lot of thoughts for me, and for me, I think it's something we need to try and figure out. If anything, at least for this specific one, in case other people want to figure these sorts of things out. What's very clear to me is, in practice, it creates a zone where no one really has any responsibility for it, and we as a township can't police these areas. I feel, So, I have ideas on how to handle them, but they aren't really open space in any kind of practice or anything like that. They're just little pieces of land in between different houses that we own, and that I think we need to at least give a way for residents to figure a way out if they want it. A lot of residents figure out how to deal with it on their own and get through it fine. But where there's conflict, I think it really is our responsibility to figure out a way to fix it, I think. So that's something that came up at the Planning Commission that I wanted to bring up. I did attend the Groseal Fire Department open house. It's my third one, I think, that I've attended with my kids. They always love it. They have a good time. My oldest one is 4 now, so he really enjoyed the bouncy house and had a great time with that. But it was just a beautiful day. Weather was great. So many people showed up, and it's just really great to see families out and doing that sort of thing. I'd asked when I was there. I don't know what the final count was, but it was definitely in the hundreds of people that showed up. So that was great. And finally, I want to thank Mr. Frank Gerner for showing up tonight. I know you said you've been here 2 years. First of all, thank you for coming to the community and investing here and being here. You've probably experienced, a lot of people have been here for a long time. Sometimes I've heard people say that they're new when they've been around for decades, when that doesn't feel right to me. I'm just happy you're here and happy that you're here and participating and telling us what you're feeling. What you just said is I think, spot on in many different ways. We need more people like you showing up to meetings, not just here, but I love to hear that you were going to Wayne County, because they need to hear it too. Not just from us, but from residents. They're accountable to you too. I know you heard some from, and you probably will hear some from my fellow trustees and other board members tonight. But I heard one thing that was really good tonight. I hope it's okay to say to both of you, Jim and Joe. Jim was like, "You do your thing, I'll do mine." That's a good thing, that we go at these problems from different ways. So, I think we've been there before, but to hear that coordination is happening and there's a recognition of different roles to play here on the township board to push on Wayne County, I think is a good thing as well, because we're going to need all sorts of pressure to get what we need there, the repairs that we need. Eventually a new bridge, many years into the future, I hope. But that bridge is existential to our existence here, and we need all hands on deck, residents, board members, everyone, to push to get what we need there. So thanks for your vigilance, and please encourage others to come up here and say that. It always is a breath of fresh air when new residents come and speak at that podium. We need more of that. Thank you. All in there.
All set, Kyle? Thank you. Joe?
Good evening. I sit on the Police Commission, and the meetings are third Tuesday of the month in this board room at 7 o'clock. I have some updates for you. The first one is from the police department. We're still in the process of hiring a dispatcher and a patrolman. Hopefully by next month or the month after, we should have the dispatcher by next month and possibly a patrolman by a couple of months. We're going to see. They're not quite clear on the patrolman. Another thing, the police chief asked me to mention this for the board also, and just for the people and for the township manager. Unfortunately, COVID hit the police department. And when COVID hits the police department, first off, I want to just make sure and say that I hope they get better, pray and hope they get better every day for them and for their family. But when we have these issues in the police department, obviously we have overtime issues. I had this saying, this is mine, it's not Doug's, it's not J.C. Penney, it's the police department. And we don't go down lower than 2 cars on the road. There's a reason for that. It's a safety issue for the people of Grosse Ile, and it's also a safety issue for the officers. So especially for the board members, Doug was concerned that if you're looking at the OT issues this month and last month, they were crushed. And unfortunately, these are some unforeseen issues that you have in a police department and in the fire department, that it's the price of doing business. And some of that price of doing business is overtime. And that's unforeseen, but it can be dealt with. It is being dealt with, and we're doing everything we can. And again, I just hope they can get better every day and get back to work as soon as they're healthy too. So the next thing on the list here, the Army Corps of Engineers contacted me. They do have an annual meeting for the remediation here for the old Navy base. And that yearly meeting will be November 8th at 6 p.m. right here at Township Hall. I talked to Brian, and he stated that he would be putting it out on our social media sites. But one thing I just want to say, because this is up to the board now to decide, but I just feel that this type of meeting, especially for the people that are in this area that may not be able to make the meeting, obviously it's an open meeting, but what's the chance and what do you, lady and gentlemen, feel about it being videoed like a regular meeting, like some of the meetings that we have here? So I guess that's up to the board to decide that one.
I'd support that. I mean, it's a community issue.
I don't think there'd be any problem with that.
It's up, obviously it's up to you guys.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay, that's fine. So Brian, we're good with that, and thank you for putting it out on the different sites. Just the Army Corps of Engineers also asked me, I've never heard this before in all the years, this time they said they want to get as many people here as they can. Charles, who's the communication director in Louisville, called me on the phone and asked me if I would handle this, and I said, well, we'll put it out on the sites, and anybody that's interested on the cleanup here at the airport, and they're almost done, once again, it's November 8th, 6 p.m., so if you can make it, that would be great, and if not, if the rest of the board, they feel that this should be videoed, that's great. It'll be live and videoed on GITV then. So, also one more update, actually I have 2 more, I'm sorry. I went to a 2-day training on township government. It was really an excellent training. There was 8 classes total. I mean, it went from leadership to problem issues to how to handle certain issues at the board meeting. It was really quite a, it was an excellent training. It was put on, Michigan Township Association put it on. I was able to talk to a couple attorneys from there, and ones that, it's nice when you can put a face to a name after you've been, calling them up and speaking to them. So it was just, I just want to say thanks. It was excellent. It taught me a lot. It taught me, and there was actually one small, this wasn't a class, but they did hit on leadership and retention issues. And let me just go into this next part. Derek and I met between the last board meeting and this board meeting, and the reason we got together on this is actually the second area of this project where we went through the manager's handbook and policies and procedures to make sure that everything was in line for what we thought that this new policy was going to be and what we had envisioned it to be. So it was a very good meeting. Thank you, Derek. I just appreciate your time. And we went through this again. That's the second area. The first area is when I outlined what I thought I was looking for and what I envisioned this. And it's really basically a 4-part issue. and then we're going to come to the board with the whole package, and that will be some changes to the policies, and that will be some additions, and it will show what we're going to do for the retention policy, and a couple things, unfortunately, and Derek, he had some extra work he had to do, I appreciate, and will have to do in the future, and but I think it makes a better environment for all the township workers here, and it will. So once again, thank you, and we're still working on that. And I believe that is it. Thank you.
Can I just add something for the Army Corps thing? Is that
Oh,
all right?
yes, sir.
Well, first, part of why the Army Corps does that is the more people they have, actually, I wouldn't say contractually obligated to do that, but it actually helps them close out their process or make their process better. So they like more people to show up in general. I will say, I have asked, where they are on that report that they're going to present to us in November 8th. And I did get back from our state representative, or State Senator Darren Camilleri's office, that they haven't provided it to Eagle yet. So they haven't finished it yet. Supposedly they'll provide it to Eagle, I want to say in the middle of this month. And I have communicated to our state representatives our position after that vote that everyone took, that we want further testing of those fields. So I'm hoping that Eagle will communicate that as well to the Army Corps when they come present on November 8th. So I'm excited they'll be here. And just thanks for everyone's work on that and getting that resolution passed. I think it is really helpful. So thank you for that.
And just to add on to that, the Army Corps' letter to people indicated that most of the AOCs that were being closed up, the soccer fields, if you will, was not one of them. They did indicate that
Correct.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
Thank you.
but so it should be a good meeting. I encourage everybody to attend from the board. Thank you,
Jim, who from here, who monitors, they just take it and monitor the meeting? They just do it themselves?
They asked to use our room, it's their meeting.
Right,
Yeah,
right, that's what I
yeah,
mean.
Yeah,
Good, okay.
yep. Jameson.
Okay. To caveat on what Joe said, I think anytime we can broadcast public information or information that's beneficial to the public is a great thing to do. In fact, I'd like to see GITV maybe have more content like that. I don't know what that would look like or how we do it, but maybe that's something we need to think about in the future. The Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission will meet on 19 October. Several things in the work with BPAC, but probably the most interesting thing is a recent Facebook discussion about which side of the road bicyclists should ride on. So I would just remind the public that when you're cycling, ride on the right side of the road with traffic. There's a couple reasons for this. The first being, if you're traveling at, say, 15 miles per hour, a car behind you is traveling at 35 miles per hour and hits you, that's an impact of 20 miles per hour, right? Pretty survivable. If you're traveling at 15 miles per hour into traffic and a car hits you at 35 miles per hour, that's a 50 mile per hour impact, and your chances of surviving it are extremely limited. The other reason for it is, not all types of bicycles can actually exit the roadway if they need to. Example, like road bikes, and some of the gravel bikes can't just kick over to the side and ride through the dirt. So being able to avoid traffic coming at you isn't always an option. So the Zoning Board of Appeals meets on the 24th of this month, which is the day after our second meeting. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Jameson. Derek, Township Manager's Report.
Good evening, Board. Just a couple of quick items. I believe a push went out this afternoon that addressed paving on Meridian. As part of the Meridian Bridge project, it was the county's plan to resurface Meridian Road between Groseal Parkway and Island. They had planned on doing that after that bridge was complete, but with the progress that's being made on that bridge, I'm not sure that they could have paved after that bridge will be done, so they decided to move that up. So they did some milling work last week, and the repaving or the resurfacing of the first stretch, which is between Groseal Parkway and between Groseal Parkway and the bridge, should start on Wednesday around 8 a.m. So we've been in contact, our DPS department, with public safety to make sure that they can get in and out of their driveways. But they will be working in that area, so be aware of construction traffic. Likely when they're working in that lane, it will be closed for a period of time, so you'll have to pay attention to the flaggers and make sure that you're following the traffic patterns that exist when that work is being done. It's supposed to rain on Thursday, so it looks like the remainder of the work, which would be north of the Meridian Road Bridge, will be done on Friday. So paving on Wednesday and Friday on Meridian, north and south of the Meridian Bridge. The ferry intersection, if anybody has an opportunity to drive towards that intersection or has had the opportunity to drive towards that intersection, you'll notice a pretty substantial amount of work that's happening in that area, and that's why it has been closed. The county is actually realigning that intersection to take part of the curve out, so they've completely reconstructed the road in that area, and they're also putting in some additional pedestrian signage and traffic control measures. So that's why that intersection is tore up the way that it is and why it's taking so long. In addition to the realignment of that road, they're also doing some drainage work that was part of that bridge reconstruction project, and there was some DT gas relocation work that had to happen with that as well. So there's a lot happening at that intersection, which goes beyond just resurfacing it. They're actually reconstructing that whole intersection, so that's why that's taking so long. The hope is that that should be done before the bridge reopens. They have one of the lanes already poured in concrete, and half the intersection. Once that cures, then they'll move to the next half and then pave that, and hopefully they can button that up and get that open to traffic as quickly as possible. As far as the Meridian Road Bridge is concerned, and more than likely why some of the residents have seen a lot of that concrete truck traffic has been because they have been pouring the abutments. So just last week, they poured the north abutment. The south abutment had been poured about a month ago. And according to the county, they're scheduled to start placing the beams for that bridge about the third week of October. So that's the next step in the construction after the abutment, is putting the beams in there. And the hope is that that project will be complete by about the beginning of December, barring any unforeseen issues or weather conditions that might delay the project. So that's a tentative date at this point in time. As far as other things going on within the township, we are in the process of interviewing an additional vacant position that we have with the retirement of Annette Tiso. That is the Assistant Recreation Director position. So we had 2 interviews today. We'll have 4 interviews the balance of this week, and then hopefully be in a position to bring something to the board here in the next, hopefully the next month or so. And all the candidates that we've been interviewing are really good. It's going to be a very difficult decision for us, but that has been a really good process. Very impressed with our new recreation director. Has been doing an excellent job with reviewing, candidates and going through conducting the interview process. So kudos to him. He's doing a very good job. As far as the restaurant lease is concerned, if you recall, the township board had authorized entering into contract negotiations with a vendor, a restaurateur, I believe 2 meetings ago. There have been 2 meetings that have taken place so far with that restaurateur to review terms and conditions. I'm hoping that probably within the next 30 days that will be able to make its way to the board for consideration. But right now we are just negotiating terms and conditions. If we're able to achieve an agreement that is approved by the board, I believe the ultimate plan is to have that individual or that business in place by the spring. There's a decent amount of work that they would like to do to that building, which they would do through the wintertime, and then have an opening in March or so, March or April. But all that is tentative until we're able to come to terms with the potential tenant. As far as the COVID dollars, I know we've talked a lot about that this evening. As was indicated by Chief Camilleri, we do have some pluses and we do have some minuses on the budgetary figures that were approved by the board for expenditure. For example, we had allocated, I think in the initial budget, about $350,000 for the fuel tanks in the back of the public safety building. Those bids came in about $100,000 less than what we had budgeted. The furnaces here at this building came in about right where they were supposed to be. Some work has been added, some work has been deleted, as the chief had mentioned here earlier. So as we get a better handle on where we lie with all these numbers with regards to what was approved, we'll provide obviously a report to the board so that you understand where exactly those expenditures have come in at. We're not changing any projects other than minor changes, as the chief had mentioned here earlier, with door panels being reduced or painting changes, things of that sort. But the project list as a total has not changed. It's just as we spec the projects out and we get the bids and we realize the actual cost, then, we'll let you know kind of where we're at. But as we stand right now, I believe we're a little bit below what we had anticipated, especially with that $100,000 in savings on the fuel tanks that we have behind public safety. Park Lane is scheduled to be paved coming up the end of this month. So we're hopeful that Park Lane between Church and Horse Mill, just past Church and Horse Mill, that will be completed by the end of this month. So that's been a long project, but a very good one, and I think that it'll be welcome relief to those residents along that dirt road, the paving of that road. So hopefully by the end of the month on that one. And then last but not least, we, about a year ago, or a little less than a year ago, had started a partnership with the school district for interns. As a matter of fact, one of our trustees' daughters was an intern, very valuable intern to us, I believe, last winter. And so we're continuing that relationship with the school. We are going to be bringing an intern in probably the end of this week, if not the beginning of next. Her name is Evangeline Daly, and she's going to be helping us out in a couple of different departments. So you might see her at one of our board meetings, just because it's a great education for an intern to see the workings of local government, and we're very excited to have her on board, and we'll be sure to introduce her to you all when she does come to that whatever meeting we're able to get her to. So with that concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Derek. As far as the intern, the way we wanted to do it was we didn't want these kids coming in and just filing papers in different departments. We're trying to give them an education and let them see how each department runs, as well as various meetings. I know in the past, with our interns, we've invited them into in not only our formal meetings but our informal meetings, talking to the engineers or whatever, so that they really get a good feel for what goes on in the township government. I have a smattering of things. First of all, Wayne County has a couple of things going, which may be of interest to the residents. One of the things that has been going on for some time is trying to increase the broadband infrastructure, and they came out and we had on our website a link to a survey that residents could take. That was supposed to be over with, but they've extended it. They want to get more input, and they now are offering a chance to win some prizes if you take the survey. So we will have that back up on our website and social media. They also have going on a Fall in Love with Wayne County. It's a photo contest. Pictures of Wayne County. If you have anything, again, there are prizes, sweet tickets to the Lions game, which is a kind of a big thing now. Tickets to the Fisher Theater for a couple of different plays. That also will be up on our website. The next DDA meeting is the fourth Thursday, which is October 26th at 6:30 in the boardroom. I don't believe we'll probably have some update on our master plan where we are, but which is not too far because we're just starting on that. I did want to say, speaking to Frank's questions, the money that we receive, that is, you see the check downstairs, that is for repairs of the current bridge. Repairs are probably going to start late '24, mostly in '25, probably into '26. As far as weight control, that's and having the weighmaster out here, Wayne County has 2 weighmasters, I think. I know they were here for a couple of days about a week ago. They parked on the Trenton side of the bridge and looking. Speed is a problem. That's that is a police problem as far, and I think anybody that drives over that bridge knows that some of the people, whether it be a car and certainly some of those trucks, aren't coming close to the speed limits that's there now, let alone what we've been trying to talk to Wayne County about reducing that speed. So I guess we do have to talk to the police and see what we can do about that. But yes, and there's been an increase of truck traffic with the road work that's going on right now on Groseal. There are more trucks coming over with the airport work that's going on. There's more big trucks, and yes, I know myself. I've seen them. That they're moving along there, and that's a very narrow bridge, and those are big trucks. So we will continue to work on that. Hopefully, we have a meeting with Wayne County, Derek and I, for a completely different issue in a couple of weeks. But I would say I call Mr. Kandrivas and or his deputy director constantly, and by constant I mean about every 10 days, asking about this speed thing, because it has been going on, Joe, I don't know for how long, but many months, too many months not to have a question, an answer to it one way or another. So we will continue to do that. We will press Andy on that. Yeah, also was mentioned that Mr. Kandrivas did say he'd have a public meeting, kind of a town hall with Groseal, and that has not been scheduled. I have not heard anything about that. When I have talked to him about it, he still says he's going to do it, but we have no dates. He wanted to tie it into when they were kind of settled on what they were going to do, the structure and the piers, when they had the designs done and everything, so they could be specific, but which is what people would like, some specificity, but so we will continue to press him on that also. And with that, I have nothing more, so I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Frank, thank you for